From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate. Prime Minister Mark Carney is in Norway today, where he will observe NATO's cold response exercises alongside the Norwegian Prime Minister.
Carney is on the trip at the invitation of Norway, which hosts these joint NATO exercises every 2 years. This year, about 25,000 troops from 14 different nations are taking part in the exercises, which are aimed at enhancing the alliance's Arctic military capabilities. The Canadian Armed Forces would not exactly say how many Canadian troops are taking part. Now, Carney is scheduled to have a bilateral meeting with Norwegian Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Støre on Saturday. They're expected to talk about foreign investment, clean energy, critical minerals, aerospace, and artificial intelligence. The two are also expected to talk about global energy security as the war in Iran continues to disrupt the global supply chains. David Augustine, The Canadian Press.
Meanwhile, Carney was in Yellowknife yesterday, announcing $32 billion in defense spending to upgrade military bases in the region. The investment focusing on bases in Yellowknife, Inuvik, Iqaluit, and Goose Bay, Newfoundland and Labrador as part of NORAD modernization.
The combination of these defense investments with the nation-building projects we're announcing today will strengthen Arctic security and open new economic opportunities while connecting communities.
A senior government official briefing reporters said the government envisions getting the work on the bases done over the next 10 years or so. Now, overseas, a large explosion has struck Iran's capital, Tehran, at a square that was filled with demonstrators rallying for Quds, or Jerusalem Day. The cause of the blast was not immediately known. Israel, however, had warned it could strike the area just before the explosion happened. The ongoing conflict in the Middle East has roiled commodity and stock markets this week, leaving many investors wondering how to best position their portfolios amid the volatility. Angelo Kourkafis, senior global investment strategist at Edward Jones, says investors should avoid playing geopolitical games with their portfolios.
We still remain in a headline-driven market. That's no doubt uncomfortable for investors, but keeping that long-term perspective during these times of volatility is very important because we know that headlines can change in an instant.
He says oil prices frequently rise ahead of major events and peak shortly after. And finally, many Canadian travelers are opting for alternative March break destinations this year as unrest and violence disrupt tourism in some of the traditionally more popular affordable destinations. Travel agents in the Greater Toronto Area say the economic and political uncertainty in Cuba, fear of violence in Mexico, and the impact of a devastating hurricane in Jamaica have forced many people to change their vacation plans, with some choosing to go to new countries and others deciding to stay put. Nova Parker of Total Advantage Travel and Tours says there has been an increasing interest in tourism here within Canada. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, the Winnipeg Jets came up short in their tilt with the Rangers, 6-3 the final for New York. William Nylander, meantime, scored the go-ahead goal on a third-period power play as the Toronto Maple Leafs came back from a 3-1 deficit to top the Anaheim Ducks 6-4, snapping an 8-game slide for the Leafs. However, the Buds' captain, Austin Matthews, had to leave the game after taking a knee-on-knee hit from Ducks defenseman Radko Gudas. Elsewhere, the Edmonton Oilers were on the wrong side of a 7-2 decision with the Dallas Stars. The Calgary Flames edged the New Jersey Devils 5-4, and the Vancouver Canucks topped the Nashville Predators in a shootout 4-3. Now on to some tennis. Canadian Victoria Mboko is out at the BNP Paribas Open, falling to Aryna Sabalenka. And finally, NFL offseason news. The Minnesota Vikings have signed quarterback Kyler Murray. He visited Vikings headquarters before agreeing to join them one day after he was cut by the Cardinals. From the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate.